What's going on YouTube? JT here, and welcome back to another edition of my Godzilla comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Godzilla, the Kai-Sei Era, issue number 11. This one, of course, is written by Tim Seeley, with art by Henry Preciada, and Francesco Segala is the colors, and then the lettering and design by Nathan Wittick, with the editor being Jake Williams. So we know where kind of the story last left off, where Jacen and all that was in his Godzilla form, and he was facing off against what I thought was Biollante, but they call her Biollante, which is the main character, the one girl. We kind of learned a little bit more about her origin story and how it kind of links to Jacen's past. And I also kind of learned that there's going to be another book that's going to be set in the Kai-Sei Era, as they call it, like phase 2. So we'll get to that at the end of this issue. But the issue opens up with some flashback stuff in 1954. We see a kid with one of Godzilla's cells, and he's ready to be kind of obliterated. But then it seems to be like the general in his past, and he kind of wakes up, and again, Jacen's battling May, who's got her Biollante form, and there is a point where she kind of taps into like his mind at some point, and they're almost in like this other plane of like reality. Like they're kind of linked in some way via the Kai-Sei energy. It's like another plane of sorts, and she's able to kind of communicate with him, tap into his memories, and show him some things about her past. Seems all kind and, you know, innocent and lovey-dovey and all that. But we learned some things there, like she has connections, like being born close to the dead zone. She was mutated, and she seemed to have like some plant DNA. Had another sister who also didn't like seem to make it. But Jacen's mom was there to kind of have some stuff to kind of stabilize her a little bit, kind of kept her going. But we do learn that May still has some sinister stuff going on as well, where with Jacen kind of in a vulnerable state, she kind of takes advantage of this to kind of kill him and kill Godzilla. And then that's kind of where the issue ends. And, you know, the other characters in that are doing their thing on the outside as well, such as Chiba, Riviera, Incense, and all that. Yuki's still off on the sideline. She's not in this particular issue. But I did think it was interesting to see how this character in some way linked to his past, and how G-Force was kind of creating these sort of metahuman-like characters as well, or having some sort of influence on it, on top of just the whole Dead Zone thing as well. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, exciting stuff. I like learning a little bit more about her backstory, how she kind of played the little sympathetic angle within like their different memories, and it's like, hey, maybe we knew each other's kids, maybe we didn't, and then kind of taking advantage of that, so that way she can, you know, because her end goal is ultimately kind of defeat Godzilla in one form or another. So with them kind of linked up in that sort of state, it leaves them vulnerable for her to attack, because in Godzilla's current energy state, you can't really like do some sort of like inflicting damage. But if you can attack the mind of like the source of it, where Jacen's at, then, you know, you can stand a chance at defeating him. So it looks like the next issue is going to be the conclusion to Godzilla versus Biollante. And then, yeah, so that should be cool to see like what May does. Maybe she'll just be destroyed entirely, or maybe after this whole thing, Jacen's going to be questioning a few more things about like the whole G-Force sort of thing. And yeah, so that's some pretty cool stuff. I also learned a little bit about the upcoming next phase of the comic books, which is in the back right here. So they call us the Kai-Sei phase 2. So we've gone through phase 1. Of course, we're going to have this ongoing Godzilla thing. Then we're going to have Revenge of the Dead Zone, Starship Godzilla Invasion X, and then the Horror of Godzilla is going to be kind of the origins of the Kai-Sei energy stuff. So that's going to be a prequel thing. So I'm looking forward to that thing. So it's another title to add to the list. It's been a while since I've covered Starship Godzilla and Escape the Dead Zone, so I'll definitely have to reread those when, you know, the new series come out, whenever that will be. But overall, I did like this one. Like learning about the origins a little bit of May and her past connections to Jacen, and the whole Biollante thing, and just the kind of that, you know, some other things with the Kai-Sei energy. It's not just pure energy. It's like they're on a different plane of reality. I don't know. It kind of has this mystique quality about it. It kind of makes me think of like the Speed Force in like, you know, involving like the Flash and DC Comics and all that too, with how the Speed Force, it's, you know, it's just an energy source, but it's kind of like its own living, breathing entity of sorts, and it has kind of its own rules, and you can kind of jump into the Speed Force and you can communicate in other ways, and it kind of binds the world together in its own unique ways. So there's some interesting stuff with the whole Kai-Sei energy thing, that it's not just a pure energy source. There's a little bit more to it. You can kind of do other things and play around with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that all kind of unfolds and gets explored in future issues. So we'll have to learn that, I guess, in the Horror of Godzilla prequel series, or maybe in the next issue of this thing. And plus, like seeing kind of how G-Force and all that other stuff is kind of connected to Jacen's past, and, you know, how his mom had a factor in this other creation right here of this Biollante, or, you know, like not really a full, maybe, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that storyline unfolds. But all things considered, I did enjoy this issue overall. Like I said, the the past of May, and just seeing how it's linked to Jacen and some more interesting things being done with the Kai-Sei energy thing that leaves me curious to see where we could go from here. But anyways, what did you think of the issue? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all the fun stuff. And that's going to wrap it up for my comic book videos from last week. Sorry I'm a little bit late on these things, but now that they are done, we can move on to this week's stuff. So as always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.